Ladies and gentlemen, narcissists are skilled at using manipulation to control your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. They often employ subtle tactics that make you question your own judgment, leaving you feeling confused or even guilty for things you haven't done wrong. These tactics can be difficult to recognize, especially when you are emotionally invested in a relationship or when they present themselves as caring or supportive. It's important to become aware of these behaviors, not just for your own protection, but to reclaim your sense of self. One common tactic narcissists use is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone deliberately manipulates you into doubting your own perceptions, memories, or understanding of events. They may tell you something didn't happen the way you remember it or accuse you of overreacting when you express concerns. At first, this may seem like harmless disagreement, but over time, it chips away at your confidence and makes you question your reality. The more they do this, the more power they gain over you because you start second-guessing your own thoughts and feelings. It's critical to trust your instincts and understand that if you feel something is wrong, it's likely because it is. Another tactic narcissists use is love bombing. This is when they shower you with excessive attention, affection, and praise, often right at the beginning of a relationship or after a conflict. The goal is to make you feel special, adored, and validated. This can feel intoxicating, especially if you're used to being underappreciated or undervalued. However, this is often a tactic to gain control and set up a sense of dependency on their approval. Once you've been drawn in by their affection, they will begin to withdraw it or use it as leverage to get what they want. Narcissists also tend to engage in projection, where they accuse you of behaviors or emotions that they themselves are actually guilty of. For example, they may call you selfish when they're the ones who consistently prioritize their own needs. Or they may accuse you of being dishonest when they are the ones hiding the truth. This technique shifts the blame away from them and onto you, making you feel like you are the problem. They may use this tactic repeatedly to make you feel guilty, insecure, or unworthy of love and respect. Then there's the manipulation of your emotions. Narcissists are experts at playing on your empathy, compassion, and desire to help others. They can make you feel like you are responsible for their happiness or their success. They will often use guilt to manipulate your actions, making you feel like you owe them something, even when they've done nothing to deserve it. This can create a toxic cycle where you're constantly trying to please them, but they never give you the validation or acknowledgement you deserve. Lastly, narcissists often create an atmosphere of isolation. They may try to turn you against your friends, family, or colleagues, subtly undermining those relationships so that you become more dependent on them. They might criticize your support system, suggesting that those around you don't understand you, don't have your best interests at heart, or simply trying to keep you from succeeding. This keeps you emotionally isolated and makes it easier for the narcissist to have control over you. When you begin to recognize these tactics, it becomes easier to see through the smoke and mirrors. You don't have to accept these manipulations. It's about protecting your mental and emotional well-being by refusing to allow anyone to dictate your reality. The more aware you are, the less power these individuals will have over your thoughts and emotions. Setting clear boundaries is one of the most powerful ways to protect your peace when dealing with a narcissist. Boundaries are not just physical lines, but emotional and psychological patterns that allow you to maintain control over your life, your energy, and your sense of self. Narcissists often push against boundaries because they see them as a challenge or a threat to their need for control. If you don't set clear limits, they will try to take as much as they can, leaving you drained, confused, and emotionally exhausted. Establishing strong boundaries is essential for maintaining your mental health and ensuring you're not manipulated or taken advantage of. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing that you are in control of your own life. You get to decide what is acceptable and what isn't. Narcissists will often test your limits, seeking to see how far they can go before you push back. They may pressure you into doing things you're not comfortable with or make demands that are unreasonable. This is where your strength lies by being firm and clear about your limits. You send a message that their behavior is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. It's important to remember that your boundaries are not meant to hurt anyone. They are a way to protect yourself and to show that you value your own well-being. Once you recognize the importance of boundaries, the next step is to communicate them clearly and assertively. Narcissists may try to twist your words or manipulate you into backing down, but it's crucial that you stay firm in your response. This is where being clear and direct comes into play. Don't leave room for ambiguity. If something bothers you, say it. If a behavior is unacceptable, state it. Don't make excuses or apologize for having needs. You have every right to express what you need for your emotional and mental health, and a narcissist should not make you feel bad for doing so. It's also important to understand that boundaries aren't always respected immediately. Narcissists, especially those who have been able to control others in the past, might push back against your limits. They may try to guilt trip you or manipulate you into feeling like you're being unreasonable or selfish. But this is where your inner strength comes in. Stay firm and don't get drawn into their drama. Remind yourself that your boundaries are there to protect your peace and your well-being. If they don't respect your boundaries, that's a reflection of them, not you. Enforcing boundaries is not always easy, especially if you've been conditioned to put others first or to avoid conflict. But each time you enforce a boundary, it becomes easier. Your self-worth will begin to grow as you realize that you have the power to say no and to walk away from relationships that drain you. Establishing boundaries helps you reclaim your autonomy and restores your sense of control in your life. It's an act of self-care that ensures you're not giving away parts of yourself that you can afford to lose. Lastly, remember that boundaries are not just about saying no. They're also about knowing what you're willing to accept and what you won't. You have the right to prioritize your emotional and mental health over the needs of a narcissist. By doing so, you make room for healthier, more positive relationships that uplift you and encourage your growth. Boundaries are your shield, your protection, and your affirmation that you are worthy of respect and kindness. Knowing your worth is the foundation of protecting yourself from being controlled or manipulated by a narcissist. When you understand your value, you are less likely to tolerate behaviors or treatment that don't align with the respect and dignity you deserve. Narcissists thrive on the insecurities of others, often preying on individuals who struggle with their self-esteem or who seek external validation. If you allow their distorted perceptions or criticisms to define your worth, you give them the power to control your sense of self. This is why it is crucial to build and maintain a strong understanding of who you are and what you stand for, no matter what anyone else may say or do. Self-worth comes from within, not from external approval. Narcissists, however, are experts at making you feel like you need their approval in order to feel valued. They may make you feel invisible, insignificant, or unworthy of affection unless you meet their needs or expectations. They will try to convince you that your worth is dependent on how well you serve them, how much you cater to their desires, or how much you tolerate their toxic behaviors. This is the moment where you need to take a step back and remind yourself of your intrinsic value. Your worth is not defined by their opinion of you. When you know your worth, you stop measuring your self-esteem against their standards or their criticisms. You stop accepting the false narrative they try to spin, and you no longer feel the need to prove your worthiness. Narcissists may try to diminish your achievements, belittle your efforts, or invalidate your feelings, but with a strong sense of self, you will be able to see their behavior for what it is, a projection of their own insecurities. They want to diminish you to feel superior, but their tactics only expose their lack of confidence. Understanding your worth also means recognizing what you bring to the table, not just to a relationship, but to the world in general. You are deserving of love, respect, and kindness. Your value is not contingent on your ability to please anyone, let alone someone who seeks to control or manipulate you. You don't need to seek validation from others when you already know that you matter. Once you've embraced your own worth, you'll be able to stand up for yourself when a narcissist tries to undermine you. You'll no longer feel compelled to apologize for your feelings, for your success, or for your need for boundaries. One of the most powerful ways to reinforce your sense of self-worth is by surrounding yourself with people who uplift and appreciate you. Narcissists often isolate you from your support system, making it difficult to remember your own value. But when you're surrounded by individuals who see your worth, who respect you, and who encourage you to be the best version of yourself, you begin to believe in your own potential. These positive influences remind you that you are worthy of genuine love and appreciation, not the superficial attention that a narcissist may offer. Ultimately, knowing your worth is a daily practice. It requires you to look in the mirror and affirm your value, regardless of external circumstances. It requires you to reject any behavior or person that seeks to diminish you. By staying grounded in the truth of who you are, you take away the power narcissists have over your emotions and your sense of self. You are enough just as you are, and no one, especially not a narcissist, can take that away from you. Narcissists are skilled at using criticism as a tool to manipulate and control others, and it's important to understand that their criticisms are not reflections of your true character or abilities. Often, narcissists project their own insecurities onto others by accusing them of things they themselves are guilty of. Their criticism is rooted in their need to maintain power and superiority, not in a genuine desire to help you grow or improve. Therefore, it's essential not to internalize their hurtful words, but rather to recognize them for what they are. Tactics designed to weaken your confidence and undermine your sense of self-worth. When a narcissist criticizes you, it's important to remember that their words are not a reflection of reality, but our own dysfunction. Narcissists are often dealing with deep-seated insecurity, which they cover up with a facade of grandiosity and superiority. Their criticism is more about projecting their own flaws onto you than about addressing anything you've actually done. They may call you selfish, manipulative, or difficult, but these accusations are usually an attempt to deflect attention away from their own behavior. When they criticize, it's often to keep you in a place of self-doubt, ensuring that you feel small and unworthy. The more you believe their words, the more control they gain over you. One of the most damaging aspects of narcissistic criticism is how it can make you second-guess yourself. If a narcissist consistently criticizes you, it can chip away at your self-esteem and make you feel like you're always in the wrong, even when you're not. They may tell you that you're overreacting, being overly sensitive, or that you're imagining things. In doing so, they attempt to distort your perception of reality and manipulate your emotions. When you start to accept their criticism as truth, you lose sight of your own values, your own perspective, and what you know to be right. To combat this, it's vital to strengthen your sense of self and trust in your own judgment. No one else knows you like you know yourself. The more you align yourself with your inner truth, the less power narcissist criticism will have over you. When faced with their hurtful words, it helps to pause and reflect on whether their criticism is valid or if it is simply a projection of their own need to control. If it's based on their distorted views, there's no reason for you to internalize it or let it affect your sense of self. Another important aspect of handling narcissistic criticism is learning how to set emotional boundaries. This means refusing to let their words penetrate your core or dictate your emotional response. You can acknowledge that they are entitled to their opinions, but you don't have to accept or internalize their judgments. You can choose to distance yourself from their negativity and not let their words define your worth or your actions. Recognize that their criticism is a reflection of their need for control and validation, not an accurate assessment of who you are or what you are capable of. By refusing to internalize their criticism, you regain control over your emotional and mental well-being. Instead of allowing their hurtful words to erode your confidence, you can use their criticism as a reminder of your strength and resilience. The more you resist the urge to internalize their negativity, the more empowered you become in maintaining your sense of self. Narcissists will always try to bring you down, but you have the ability to rise above their attempts to diminish you. Standing firm in your truth is one of the most powerful ways to protect yourself from narcissistic manipulation. Narcissists thrive on confusion and distortion. They often attempt to make you question your own perceptions, emotions, and experiences. When you stand firm in your truth, you become less susceptible to their manipulation and gaslighting. You learn to trust your instincts and stay anchored in your reality, regardless of the twisted narratives they may try to weave. This inner strength is what keeps you grounded, even when the narcissist tries to pull you into their world of distortion and control. A narcissist will often try to make you doubt your own judgment. They may tell you that your feelings are wrong, your opinions are invalid, or your memories are inaccurate. They may twist the facts or outright lie to you in order to create confusion and doubt in your mind. This is their way of gaining control and asserting their dominance over you. If you're not sure of your own truth, they can easily manipulate you into questioning yourself and doubting your perceptions. But when you stand firm in your truth, you resist their efforts to control your mind and emotions. Standing firm in your truth means knowing who you are and what you believe, regardless of what anyone else says or does. It means trusting your feelings, even if a narcissist tries to convince you that you're overreacting or being irrational. Narcissists often downplay your emotions to make you feel insignificant or unimportant. But when you are anchored in your truth, you recognize that your emotions are valid and worthy of respect. Your truth is not for anyone else to define, and you have the right to express it freely and unapologetically. This also involves being clear about your boundaries and enforcing them without hesitation. Narcissists will often test your limits, pushing you to see how far they can go before you push back. If you waver or back down from your boundaries, they will interpret that as weakness and continue to push even harder. But when you stand firm in your truth, you remain resolute in your boundaries, no matter how much resistance or criticism the narcissist throws your way. By consistently asserting your needs and standing firm in your decisions, you show the narcissist that you will not be manipulated or controlled. Standing firm in your truth also means recognizing when it's time to walk away. Narcissists will often try to draw you into their drama or toxic patterns, but when you're firmly grounded in your own truth, you will see these attempts for what they are, efforts to pull you into their dysfunction. You don't have to stay in situations or relationships that undermine your peace, your confidence, or your values. Walking away is an act of self-respect and self-preservation. And when you stand firm in your truth, you understand that it's better to walk away from toxicity than to stay and allow it to erode your sense of self. The more you practice standing firm in your truth, the stronger you will become. It will become second nature to trust your feelings, honor your boundaries, and reject the manipulation of others. When you are confident in your truth, the narcissist's attempts to distort your reality lose their power. You become unshakable, unmovable, and resilient in the face of their tactics. And that inner strength is what will help you navigate any situation with clarity and peace. Sometimes the most empowering thing you can do in the face of narcissistic manipulation is to walk away. It's not always easy, and it may feel like you're leaving behind a relationship, an expectation, or even a part of yourself that once meant something. But when you walk away from a narcissist, you are choosing to protect your peace and preserve your emotional well-being. Narcissists thrive on keeping people hooked through manipulation, guilt, and a cycle of emotional highs and lows. Walking away is your way of breaking free from that cycle and reclaiming control over your own life. Narcissists will often make you feel like you owe them something, whether it's your time, your energy, or your energy. They can be relentless in their pursuit of your compliance, using charm, guilt, or even threats to keep you engaged. They may try to convince you that walking away means you're abandoning them or being unfair. But it's important to remember that you are not responsible for their emotions or their behavior. Their inability to respect your boundaries is not a reflection of your actions, but of their own need for control. Walking away does not make you a bad person. It makes you someone who values their own mental health and recognizes when it's time to let go. When you choose to walk away from a narcissist, you are taking the power back. Narcissists rely on keeping you tangled in their web of lies. manipulation, and emotional volatility. By stepping away, you remove their ability to continue manipulating you. This can be incredibly difficult, especially if there has been a history of emotional attachment, shared experiences, or even love. But you must understand that staying in that environment does not serve your highest good. It only prolongs your exposure to toxic behavior that leaves you drained, confused, and less confident in your own worth. Walking away is also a crucial act of self-preservation. Narcissists have a way of convincing you that you need them in your life to feel validated or fulfilled. But this is a lie. You're a whole on your own, and you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift and support you, not people who seek to diminish your spirit. The longer you stay in a relationship with a narcissist, the more they will try to wear down your sense of self and make you feel unworthy of anything better. By walking away, you are giving yourself the opportunity to heal, rediscover your true self, and make space for healthier, more balanced relationships in your life. It's also important to remember that walking away doesn't mean you have failed. Narcissists often try to make you feel like leaving is a sign of weakness or defeat, but it's quite the opposite. It takes immense strength to recognize that a situation is unhealthy and to take action to protect yourself. Walking away is a declaration of your own worth and an affirmation that you will not tolerate being treated in a way that doesn't align with the respect you deserve. It's about knowing that your peace is more important than holding on to a toxic relationship. As you continue to walk away from narcissistic control, remember that this decision is a step toward regaining your freedom. It may not be easy at first, but with time you will see that the peace, clarity, and self-respect you gain from walking away are far more valuable than anything the narcissist could ever offer you. And when you embrace that freedom, you open yourself up to a future filled with growth, healing, and the opportunity to create healthier, more fulfilling connections. Remember, you are in control of your peace, your happiness, and your destiny. Don't let anyone steal that from you. Keep moving forward, keep shining, and know that better days are ahead.